Today's world is totally under the influence of technological inventions. Every technological invention has been dealt with electronics, and in turn, every electronic gadget includes a processor or a controller in it. The processor acts as the brain of every technological invention. So, the importance of processor has become inevitable in today's world of electronics. Come, let's enter into the course. How to understand any electronic gadget or working of any electronic application. Basically, we can divide them into two categories. Either my electronic device works in an open loop system or in a closed loop system. Any application. What is an open loop system? A device which receives the input through any sensors or other input devices and performs a process based on the input and gives the output as a display or an indication, alarm, or store it in a memory. Any kind of output based on the process is an open loop system. For example, a weighing machine. If you take a digital weighing machine, when you place any device, a load sensor senses it, and based on the variation in the load sensor, my processor or a controller gets the input, calculates it based on the input values, identifies the value by comparing with the reference, converts it into digital data and displays it so that I am able to see a digital display of the load that I have kept on my weighing scale. So this is an example for open loop system. So this is an open loop system. Now what is a closed loop system? When my output sensed again what kind of output has been generated. If that output has been sensed again and given as a feedback to my input along with my input to my processor. So my processor now compares the actual input as well as my output. So until my output is matched with what I prefer or what we desire. So until then my processor performs to maintain that output, standard output. So this is a closed loop system. So come, let's see an example with our daily life. So consider an air conditioner at home. So how does an air conditioner work? Our air conditioner, it detects when you press any remote, press your remote and set a temperature, it detects what is the temperature at which the compressor has to run and it has to provide the airflow. So it decides the speed of my compressor, the energy output that it has to generate. So when you once set a temperature, my compressor runs constantly in the same speed with the same energy, same amount of energy throughout, right? So here my sensor which detects the value from my remote control is given to a controller which decides the temperature or the energy that has to be supplied to my compressor and maintains it, right? So and also it is displaying the temperature or the values in my AC indoor unit. So this is an example of a open loop system, right? So if it has to become a closed loop system, what has to be done? I have to detect whether a person is present or not, or how many number of persons are present, whether that person is active or less active, more active or less active, and based upon that I have to raise my temperature or lower my temperature. If a person moves in a room from one end of the room to the other end of the room, in which direction he moves, based on that I should change the direction of my airflow. So if I detect all this, and based on this movement, if it continuously monitors the presence of a human being in a room, continuously monitors the activity of a human being in a room, and based upon that, if it changes its temperature and the energy supplied to my compressor, then it becomes a closed loop system. So shall we see a video for that?
The human activity sensor detects where people are. Air is directed to where people are, and power is adjusted in accordance with the level of their activity. The result is eco-friendly operation and energy efficiency. Next is the sunlight sensor, which detects the strength of sunlight entering the room. Airflow and temperature are adjusted in accordance with the level of the sunlight coming in the windows.
That was the example of a closed loop system.